The game was very long. The White Sox did not win, and I am very sad. Here's the CHGO White Sox postgame show. Postgame show presented to you by Bet365. Whatever the moment, it's never ordinary with our friends over at Bet365. Sign up with our code CHGO365. We're number one. The White Sox won, right, Joey?
On further review, they did not win today, Sean. But we're doing the show from the big house.
I really thought that they had that one in the bag, especially when that last runner scored. The Mariners looked so happy and excited, and they stopped playing the game. I really thought the White Sox had won in my dreams and my dreams only. We are coming to you live from the big house, as Joey said, Studio A of our CHGO offices here in the West Loop of Chicago. I'm your host, Sean Anderson. Alongside me, my producer, Joey Christopoulos.
What's up, Sean?
Can we take a second to be personal? Have you made the announcement?
No, I haven't made the announcement on this particular show. The Blackhawks were very nice earlier today. They gave me a shout out at the top of the show. But yeah, Sean,
do you want to give me an announcement?
I'll give you a piece of news.
How about why don't you hit the drum roll and then I'll give the announcement of your important news.
Okay, cool.
There's a Tiffany drum roll. Yeah, Tiffany roll right there.
Yeah, Tiffany roll. Here we go.
After a long wait of fashion, Joey Christopoulos is now insured.
Insured.
Yes! We have a clown horn. Tell them the real news.
As of just a couple of days ago, I have officially joined CHGO in a full-time capacity. So look forward. Yeah, thank you very much, Sean. So look forward to me producing more White Sox shows. And me and Sean are going to be joining forces to do some Big Ten football content probably in about a month. And then we will. Then you'll probably see me on Blackhawks postgame, some Cubs shows, all that good stuff. So grateful, excited. And I wasn't going to sign unless the Sox were fun bad.
Exactly.
And thank God.
Thank God Colson Montgomery wooed you over. We're very, very excited for Joey Christopoulos. Just real quick before we talk about the 4-3 loss. I said 3-2, my bad. They did score other stupid runs in the 10th with the ghost/zombie runner. Before we get into that real quick, Joey, we've been working on stuff together since Big Ten. Then we worked a little bit more together on White Sox. He has been great. I know December was a really tough month for the company and this show specifically. And a part that has made it a lot easier has been Joey Christopoulos. And he's worked his tail off, and it's really good to see hardworking people get rewarded for their hard work. So congratulations to Joey. We are very, very excited for him to be here. He's also been on some Cubs shows and done a very good job covering the Cubs. I know you don't have any desire to watch it, so don't. Stay here. We have White Sox show.
I'm not winning points. Not winning points with this crowd doing that. But no, dude, I appreciate it, man. And for that to come from you, because I started working with you at first, it means a lot. And working this White Sox beat, is honestly, look, the team is tough, but we've had some interesting developments this year. I can't imagine what it would have been like for you to do the show last year, but this has been way more fun.
Yeah, well, last year was different for many different reasons.
Correct.
Hit that thumbs up button because it's not last year. Make sure you're subscribing to the CHGO Sports YouTube channel as we're getting closer and closer to 100,000 subscribers. We will talk about the 4-3 loss. I will answer Kevin's question just real quick. That Seattle team won't catch Houston. No way. That looks like a team that can make a run. I agree with you, Kevin. Houston seems a little iffy, mainly because of their injuries. I think they can either take a huge jump forward if Yordan comes back healthy. It seems like Isaac Paredes is going to try to rehab it rather than get surgery. So if they get Paredes and Alvarez back, that lineup becomes more formidable. They've had a ton of Tommy John surgeries. One guy that hasn't had Tommy John but is injured again is Lance McCullers Jr., so maybe that team can be fortified a little bit. I really love Seattle, though. Logan Gilbert's a monster. Kirby's a monster. Woo's a monster. We just saw it for 3 straight games. They have Luis Castillo, who loves to just throw fastball after fastball against the Chicago White Sox. But I really do think Seattle's formidable. But now, we saw in the 4th inning, whenever Naylor had a second at-bat against Shane Smith, he left the game. So that was a huge addition for them, getting both Naylor and Suarez from Arizona. But now it seems like Naylor went down from something, whether it be overswinging. Maybe it's something that Vargas is dealing with, that oblique strain. Best of luck to Naylor. But also, the only reason why the White Sox only lost 4-3 today is because Josh Naylor didn't hit another home run against them.
I don't want to derail, but quick reaction. Do you miss the waiver deadline? For injuries so the Naylor injury like this, the August 31st waiver deadline is kind of like that last free pass or the phone a friend for a baseball team that maybe would need to add somebody at first base. I
think for fans, it's better to get rid of the waiver deadline. I think for nerdy, stupid baseball fans, and not saying that you can't be a baseball fan if you're not a nerdy baseball fan, but just those specific ones. If you're a nerdy baseball fan like me, you'd love something like the waiver trade deadline or the waiver deadline, because it still gives you opportunity to flip over a roster right before September, right before the playoff roster needs to be made.
Pick up a guy like Alex Rios.
Right. Oh, loved that move. That was a fantastic move. You could pick up a guy like Alex Rios. I think, though, for now with the expanded playoffs, it kind of makes that trade deadline even more important, and we saw a ton of interest from normal fans in the deadline this year, and I think that's because it's the be-all, end-all. That is the time to make moves, and in a way, you could now see it affecting the Cubs, just to use them as an example. I think that was a team that was looking for reinforcements. Alex Rude reminded me, because Rick Hahn was on a podcast, that he said, that teams can really be affected whether they are added to or not added to at the deadline. But he didn't bring up 2020 or 2022. And 2020 was a team that desperately needed an influx of players. They completely fell off, but thankfully made it into the playoffs in 2020. But I think it's happening to the Cubs. Like, they're like, all right, we got to the first half. Now, what's going to be our jump? What's going to be our influx? We can't have Justin Turner be our main bench bat. But there they are, and there they are crumbling. Anyways, let's jump into this. Sox get swept out of Seattle. 4-3 today in 11. Then they lost 8-6 yesterday in a fun game. They're down 7-1. They made it 8-6. We'll give them a pat on the back there. And then on Tuesday, they lost 8-3. They get swept in Seattle. They are 42-72. We talked about on Tuesday some tankathon spins. Wasn't kind to us, but the Sox have a fairly comfortable cushion between them and the second team, the Atlanta Braves. That cushion gets even wider with 3 straight wins. So if you're looking for a silver lining, the White Sox still hold the 25% chance odds to get the number 1 pick in 2026. However, when we've spun the tankathon thing, we got 1 number 1 spot and then a 5th spot and a 6th spot. So 2 of the worst scenarios possible and the best scenario possible. So it's good that the Sox lost in a way, but obviously you want victories, especially on today. The Sox had many opportunities to win this game. Let's jump into that portion. The 8th inning, we see Grant Taylor come out, and I really loved this move. It was against Cal Raleigh. It was against J-Rod. It was against Josh Naylor. Well, not Naylor. I guess Dylan Moore at this point. And then Eugenio Suarez, right? They're really going through the meat of the lineup, and they're going against Grant Taylor in a high-leverage moment, the 8th inning. Love that they're throwing out Grant Taylor there. Raleigh was, I think, unintentionally walked. It was 4 pitches to, I think, let's see if he gets himself out. He didn't get himself out, so they didn't want to mess around with a guy that has hit like 65 home runs. Is that the accurate count right now for Cal Raleigh?
I thought it was 157.
157 home runs for Cal Raleigh.
Who does math?
We'll get to Raleigh in a second, because then J-Rod singles, moves him to second, moves Raleigh to second, then a young sack bunt moves Raleigh and J-Rod to second and third. Once Raleigh gets to third, the Mariners decide to take him out for Miles Mastrobuoni. Their best hitter, the possible American League MVP, their catcher, they took him out of the game. He was DHing today, but still, Their DH then became Miles Mastrobuoni. That would come up later in the game to kind of bite them in the butt, but Grant Taylor needed to deal with 1 out, runners on second and third. Eugenio Suarez, who also has 30-plus homers, comes up. A beautiful curve for a called strike that I just really think is what needs to unlock, or is the key to unlocking Grant Taylor. If you look at his ERA compared to his FIP, that's fielding independent pitching, that takes in strikeouts, walks, like the main stuff that you can control, right? You can't control the defense. A stat sheet can't see, oh, well, that's a ball Colson Montgomery should have had, or that's a smoked liner. It's mostly, do what you can do, and if you strike out a ton of people and don't walk a ton of people, you usually get rewarded with FIP. Grant Taylor's ERA is like 4+, but his FIP is like 150. So FIP is another version of an ERA where it kind of tells you his ERA should be lower. It's the same reason with Mike Vassell. You can look at Mike Vassell's ERA, but his FIP is like 4-something. You can kind of see that that's a regression candidate. With Taylor, a way that he can get closer to his FIP is by using that curveball. And he gets Eugenio down 0-1 with a beautiful curveball. Then the next pitch, 99-mile-per-hour fastball up top. I guess it wasn't framed well enough by Caro. It was a strike. Called the ball. Oh, well. 1-1. He's like, all right, well, this guy hasn't swung on back-to-back pitches. Let's see how good your reaction time is as he throws him 100 down the pipe. Suarez stays looking at it. 1-2. And then the nastiest curve you've ever seen. It looks like the curve that he threw, the get-me-over one, to go 0-1, and it just drops in a demonic fashion completely into the dirt. And it's kind of, again, going back to it, that's what I think is going to unlock Grant Taylor. If he can flash that curveball, if he could just put that in the back of the mind of hitters, then that four-seam fastball and that cutter play up even higher, because then you're guessing, well, is this 96 cutter going to go away from me, or is it going to be 100 up and in? And then, oh, it's an 87-mile-per-hour curveball. I have nothing to do with that besides flail and instinctively strike myself out. So great job by Taylor. They did intentionally walk Polanco to load the bases. Mitch Garver's up, righty on righty, and he blows 3 fastballs right by him. And that's one thing that he can also do. When you're 23 and you can hit 100 and you see a 35-year-old catcher with bad knees, it's like, all right, Mitch Garver, you did hit homers in like 2017. Let's see what you can do in 2025. And they're able to strike him out. Great decision to make that walk on Polanco, get him the easier at-bat, and Grant Taylor did a great job in the 8th inning. Kevin says watching Taylor sometimes reminds me of Liam's stuff. I do see that in a way. Liam had a way better slider, and that was like his main backup pitch or secondary pitch. But the fastballs, I do see what you're talking about. They're very, very flat. Very fast, very, very flat. I think they're similar sizes too. I don't think Liam gets the dramatic extension that Taylor gets, but it's a really flat rising fastball. So that's a really good call there, Kevin. It's a good comp, at least fastball wise, at least visually. Let's go to the bottom of the 10th. We're going to break in a second. This is where it gets ugly for the White Sox. Rojas botches a sac bunt.
Goes from Mastrobuoni.
It goes over Sosa's head. It should have been Cal Raleigh. They have a runner on second, and who do you want up? If you're the Mariners, who do you want up? Miles Mastrobuoni, former Cub, DFA'd by the Cubs because he's tiny and looks like me, or Cal Raleigh, AL MVP. I bet 100 times out of 100 they pick Miles Mastrobuoni. Anyways, Mastrobuoni botches the sac bunt. Game tied. Mastrobuoni ends up at second. There's a pop-up behind second. Colson and Sosa merge right behind the bag, and I think Colson realizes, all right, Sosa's there. I just need to get out of there so he doesn't get overwhelmed. It's a great job by Colson. You don't need to make every single out. Yes, he's the captain of the infield, but also I think he realizes Sosa's a little iffy there. I don't need to overwhelm Sosa by saying, I got it, and moving him out of the way, and then Sosa doesn't move and causing issues. Thankfully, they just let infield defense happen there. Then Mastrobuoni stole third, which was iffy there by Caro. Not the greatest reaction time by there. But then Moore struck out looking by a Steven Wilson sweeper on the edge, and then Suarez popped out to Benny, so they're able to keep the game tied in the bottom of the 10th after the Sox were able to take the lead in the top of the 10th. And then in the bottom of the 11th, Brandon Eisert comes in. He K'd Polanco. They intentionally walk Garver to get to Canzone, and then a terrible throw by Michael A. Taylor. Canzone hits it into right field, runner on second there, and Michael A. Taylor really isn't able to get a throw that, one bounces to the catcher. And honestly, it wasn't even that good of like a wraparound, right? Like, you got to charge that ball, then you got to get a really great crow hop, and Michael A. Taylor did not do that. Maybe he's not a right fielder after all. Maybe he's just a wash center fielder. We got to take a break here on the CHGO White Sox postgame show. If you have any questions, let us know in the comments. We got to take a break on the CHGO White Sox postgame show presented by Bet365. We want to let you know about our great friends over at Sunnyside Cannabis Dispensary. We watched today's game in our Sunnyside Lounge. We got some beautiful orange pillows, our lovely logo Nux. We got a pillow made of him. We got some Chicago flags as drapes. It's looking very chill over there. Sunnyside Cannabis Dispensary is your home for judgment-free cannabis shopping, a place where all kinds of visitors are welcome to explore, discover, and purchase a wide array of high-quality products. They have everything that you need, whether you're a newbie or an expert. If this is your first time with cannabis, their knowledgeable and kind bud tenders can take you through your first journey. If you're an expert, they have over 100 strains to choose from. And the best part is, we have a promo code. Head over to sunnyside.shop for bright buys every day, including 50% off your first 3 online purchases. Enter promo code HICHGO at checkout to qualify. If you're a new user, if you're an existing user, use promo code CHGO50 for 50% off one Cresco Lab branded item. Exclusions apply. Sunnyside Cannabis Dispensary. Bright buys every day, only for 21 plus or Illinois medical card holders. We also want to let you know about our friends over at Game Time. The place to get tickets is Game Time. You need to use them right before the game starts. Not you need to, but that's the best way to get the best price. As Game Time approaches, the prices on Game Time go down. So the more you wait, the more that you'll save. So if it's a 6:40 game, you could take the red line. Don't even worry. Don't even worry about getting a ticket. You could just walk over there right before game time, have the Game Time app on your phone, and you will get the best tickets for White Sox games using the Game Time app. They also have a lowest price guarantee. Game Time will credit you 110% of the difference if you're able to find tickets in the same row and section for less. Take the guesswork out of buying tickets with Game Time. Download the Game Time app and use code CHGO for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account and redeem code CHGO for $20 off. Download the Game Time app today. Last minute tickets, lowest price guaranteed. Welcome back to the CHGO White Sox postgame show presented to you by Bet365. Whatever the moment, it's never ordinary with our friends over at Bet365. Use code CHGO365 when you sign up. We have to, drum roll again, Joey did not get fired or rehired.
I'm leaving the company, everyone.
We have to take the temp with our friends over at Four Seasons. Not only do they do air conditioning, they do plumbing, they do electrical needs, and they do heating. You probably don't need heating right now, but if you did, or maybe you really are a prepper, you could get them over at 866 Four Seasons. We'll take the temp with our friends over at Four Seasons. Luis Robert Jr. has been very, very good. He tied Vladimir Guerrero Jr. with the active longest on-base streak. Both of them are at 23 games. Robert then said, after he got on in the second inning with a walk, he said, you know what, that's not enough for me, Luis Robert Jr. I'm going to hit a double. I'm going to hit a single. I'm going to hit another single. I'm going to steal a bag. That guy's got 31 stolen bases on the year, and that steal has put him at 100 career home runs with the Chicago White Sox and 100 stolen bases with the Chicago White Sox. Joey, he is the 4th Chicago White Sox in history to have 100 home runs and 100 steals in the Chicago White Sox pinstripes. Who are the other 3 members of the 100 Club?
So let's go with some easy ones, right? Like Minnie Minoso.
Minnie Minoso.
Okay.
Correct. That was the one that our boss, Jake Flanagan, did not get.
Oh, that's one that he didn't get.
Yeah.
Shoeless Joe.
No, Shoeless Joe. No.
Okay.
No. I don't think they hit home runs back then. He was a triple king, man. Oh, those alleys, he used to really abuse them because it wasn't about hitting homers. It was about getting a runner on third to really put the pressure on them, see?
Stretch a double into a triple, wrap your arms around the bag. My next guess was going to be Tim Raines.
Rock Raines not on there.
Not on there.
No, I don't think Timmy had the pop.
Interesting.
At least, to get to 100.
Man, so Aparicio didn't hit.
No,
he didn't hit home runs.
No.
He wasn't a home run guy. We've had some boppers in our lineup. So
Rock Raines was at 50 homers, 143 steals.
Oh, in a White Sox uniform?
Yeah.
Wow, that's it. Interesting.
Kevin guesses TA 7. No.
No, 100 home runs. No way. Man,
TA finished at...
I'm running out of guys. Do we have a
You're
decade?
running out of guys. You made one guess. Actually, TA was really close. TA, 98 home runs, 117 stolen bases. So TA was really close, Kevin.
Mags Ordonez.
No.
Wow.
They are players that you watched. I'm going to allow 2 more guesses.
Players that I watched?
Players in your era. Both middle infielders.
Alexi Ramirez.
LSA.
Okay. And then Ray Durham.
And Ray Durham. There you
Nice.
go. Hey, there you go.
Okay.
All right. So, yeah. So the 4, Luis Robert Jr., Ray Durham, Alessandro Ramirez, Alexei Ramirez, and Minnie Minoso.
And is it fair to say that maybe Luis Robert probably did it in the shortest amount of games?
I don't have that
Yeah.
in front of me, but I believe that's correct. Let's continue to take the temp here because it stinks. Joey, it's kind of hot in here. It's making all the trash stink.
Sticky temp.
It really, Joey, what's that smell? Oh, Joey, it reeks in here. It smells like herring, like salted herring. You ever smell that?
A fish?
Yeah,
A
like
fish.
the Nordic treat. Oh, it smells terrible.
That's what happens
Oh,
when
it's
Luke,
actually
Luke Stuckenberg tries to buy lunch.
It's just Bob Nightingale's tweet. Wow, crazy. White Sox center fielder Luis Robert Jr. was 3 for 4 today and is now slashing 394, 461, 606 with an OPS of 1067 since July 11th. With 4 home runs, 14 RBIs, 18 runs, 9 stolen bases. He was certainly available in trade talks. This guy said that Chris Getz was annoying GMs at the deadline, and he compared Luis Robert Jr. to Anthony Rendon in the way that I guess
They both play baseball?
paid
Is
a
that
lot
where the
of money?
comparisons end?
paid a lot of money, I guess, and hasn't reached expectations. Definitely fair there, Bob, for sure. Bob Nightingale's a doofus. He smells like salted herring. He reeks. And you shouldn't, I think, be listening to him. Because at the end of the day, the price was not met. Chris Getz is saying, or at least showing, that he has the trust in Jerry Reinsdorf that the $5 million raise for Luis Robert Jr. is going to happen. I see nothing wrong with this. Chris Getz is not a doofus. And what you're seeing right now from Luis Robert Jr. is something that Jim Margulis wrote may be happening. Maybe the change of scenery is happening from inside. The call is coming from inside the house. You know what's changing? The White Sox. Luis Robert Jr. never needed to change. The White Sox needed to change.
Bob Nightingale has a history, I will say, of sometimes being a phantom voice for things that Jerry Reinsdorf likes to get out there. So, like, conspiracy-wise, would you read into any of this being maybe something that Jerry would have wanted, that they wanted to trade Luis Robert, but Chris Getz said, I'm going to stick to my plan? It also can be said, too, that, like, Chris Getz, this might actually be a compliment to Chris Getz, that he is willing to dig his heels in and run the show his way, despite of maybe what other people in the front office might want from time to time.
If, again, maybe Jerry wanted Robert gone. I did not think that he would stay on the team post-deadline because I didn't think they wanted to give him that $5 million raise. I didn't think they wanted to pay Robert $20 million. So I don't think that thinking's unfair. Is it a stretch? Yes.
Oh, totally.
A little bit.
I said conspiracy, for
but
sure.
At the end of the day, again, I think it's a sign that Chris Getz has the trust of Jerry Reinsdorf, where maybe that trust for Hahn and Kenny were very thin. We are seeing improvements on the underbelly of the Chicago White Sox, and I think maybe Jerry's seeing that improvement, and Chris was able to talk him into that $5 million raise. If you are listening to Bruce Levine, who I think apparently was saying on last Saturday that still the White Sox are mulling the idea of that option being picked up, if Chris Getz declines that option, he should be run out of Chicago on a rail. Period. They would be the laughingstock of not even Chicago, of baseball, if they decline that option after holding on to him at the trade deadline. Sell him for pennies if you're just going to let him go for nothing. This is a sign that they're not letting him go. We should read the tea leaves. They seem pretty clear to me. And the one thing that is getting me excited about Luis Robert Jr. is obviously this isn't just hits. It's an on-base streak, so he's walked a couple times, too, to get on base. An on-base percentage since July 11th, as Bob stated, over 400. What has got me excited is you're seeing great pitch selectivity, something that we did see in spring training. We are seeing him hit right-handers now. I think that this guy might be finally putting it together. And I know that that's a really fickle thing for him because it's one injury that could possibly pull him out, and then he has to reacclimate again. But this man has made me delusional before. I know he's made White Sox fans delusional before. There are some stats out there that I think that the guy that we thought he could be is still in there. And if the White Sox have changed from within, maybe, just maybe, they can finally mirror 2023 for Luis Robert Jr. There's a stat out there created by Not That Bobby or Seager. It kind of shows off the strengths of Corey Seager. You want to swing at pitches inside the zone and not at pitches outside the zone. And you take the outside swing rate and minus it the zone swing rate, or the other way around. And if your zone swing rate is much higher than your outside swing rate, you'll have a positive number. Usually Corey Seager has led it. That's why the stat is named Corey Seager, or after Seager. Seager has a 26 Seager this year. Luis Robert Jr. in 2025, at least when I checked this back on July 29th, ranks 16th in 2025 in Seager. I know that stat might surprise you because, again, there's a lot of times where he can just be gotten out with a low and away slider, but that is a lot of Major League Baseball. That's a really tough pitch to hit. I mean, go look at Aaron Judge in the playoffs last year. He was terrible, and it was just low and away sliders every single time. However, you may be saying a 20-plus Seager year for Robert seems impossible, right, with his lack of plate discipline. A 20-plus Seager year for him, which is something Corey Seager's doing and leading Major League Baseball at 26, isn't abnormal for him. He's done it in 4 years. He's done it this year, 2023, 2022, and 2021. And then, if you look at his barrels against righties, where he has struggled, we know he's been very good against left-handers. I think his weighted runs created plus is still over 150 against lefties. He's been terrible against righties. And back on the 29th, this was still the case. Robert hadn't barreled a ball versus a right-handed pitcher since a home run off Ryan Nelson on June 24th. In July, 0 barrels versus right-handed pitchers. June, 2 barrels, 2 home runs. May, 5 barrels against righties. April, 6 barrels. 13 barrels versus right-handed pitchers in 2025 in 1,176 pitches seen. His lowest amount in a season was 2020, 12 barrels in 882 pitches. So again, many more pitches seen this year and a worse barrel rate. This has been his worst barrel rate. However, since that tweet, now it's August 7th, we've seen 4 barrels off of right-handed pitchers for Luis Robert Jr. And he dominated Logan Gilbert today. That's a guy with Joey. What's his K to walk ratio? I think it was 117 to 18.
It was 112 to 18.
Disgusting. Very, very good. And Luis Robert Jr. spat on every single offering from Logan Gilbert today. I know I don't want to get too overexcited, but it is what I saw. In 2 at-bats today, 16 pitches, 6 balls fouled off, 2 whiffs, which weren't the end of the world, right? You swung and missed, whatever, that's a strike. You get 3 of them. 0 called strikes, 2 full counts seen in both at-bats, 1 led to a walk, 1 was a laced double. They can get a haul for him. And if Chris Getz is able to get a haul for him, it will be his biggest win. Holding on at this moment, being able to convince Jerry, being able to prove the rest of Major League Baseball wrong, if and if only if he can get a haul for Luis Robert Jr., this will be Chris Getz's biggest win. We have to take a break here on the CHGO White Sox podcast. Again, if you have any thoughts, let us know in the comments below. I do see Shy Sox Anthony, 27, and Kevin M. We'll get to the comments in a second. Hit that thumbs up button if you do like the live stream. Make sure you're subscribing, and we'll be back right after a break here on the CHGO White Sox podcast. We want to let you know about our great friends over at Mint Mobile. The last thing that you need to do this summer is stress over your wireless bill. You want to be taking those beach trips. You want to be taking those 3-day weekends. You want to be having those barbecues, those meaty barbecues. You want to get all kinds. Beef, pork, lamb, ribs, you know? I knock over my laptop. The way to save is with our friends over at Mint Mobile. Right now, they are offering 3 months of unlimited premium wireless service for $15 a month. So while your friends are sweating over data overages and surprise charges, you'll be chilling literally and financially. Say bye-bye to your overpriced wireless plans, jaw-dropping monthly bills, and unexpected overages. Mint Mobile is here to rescue you. New customer offer with 3-month unlimited wireless plan for just $15 a month. Upfront payment of $45 required. Limited time new customer offer for 3 months only. Speeds may slow above 35 gigabits on unlimited plan. Taxes and fees extra. Visit mintmobile.com/White Sox to save on your wireless bill and have the best summer possible. We also want to let you know about our friends over at Circa Sportsbook. My pal Marty just got the chance to go to Circa in Las Vegas. He had a great time. Hung out at the Circa pool, right? I can't even think of the actual word for it. But the beautiful Circa pool with the crazy TV screen. That's where he watched the home run derby. He was able to gamble a little bit at the beautiful sportsbook, and that's mainly what I want to tell you about. The people that run that beautiful sportsbook in Nevada are the same people that run the sportsbook app in Illinois. If you have a problem, you will be dealt with by a real person. There is no AI chatbot that you'll have to deal with. You will talk to a real person who runs the real sportsbook. They have great odds, up to the minute odds. You can bet live, you could pregame wager, you could bet futures, you could fund and bet like a pro from anywhere, anytime. They have high betting limits, low holds, and exceptional customer service. Download your new bookie today at circasports.com. Must be 21 plus. Gambling problem, call 1-800-GAMBLER. Welcome back to the CHGO White Sox podcast, presented by Bet365. Use code CHGO365 when you sign up. Whatever the moment, it's never ordinary with our friends over at Bet365. Shy Sox, Anthony 27, Nightingale blinks a lot too. At least he did a video. At least he did on the last video about him talking about Luis Robert Jr. at the trade deadline. Again, Bob's a very old writer, so I think that you're seeing a writer adapting to new technologies. I don't think Bob Nightingale ever planned to be on a Zoom call with foul territory. So yeah, he does blink a lot. I don't think he was ever made for camera. Kevin M saying, with this happening this way, maybe a stretch, do you think Reinsdorf feels a weird sense of loyalty to Robert? He is the last guy that came up through the system. No. I think Reinsdorf is loyal to money like most billionaires, if we're being fair and honest. I don't think that there's a sense of loyalty. I think that when you pay somebody millions of dollars, there's an expectation of results. So I don't think that Jerry Reinsdorf, at least when it comes to players, is a person that deals in loyalty often. I mean, this is the guy that wouldn't outbid the Marlins for Mark Burley. I mean, right, and then well, they traded him. He wasn't a free agent.
Mark Burley was traded? I thought he signed as a free agent. I thought they just let him walk. It got close with the Diamondbacks and Canerco. Canerco ended up staying home. I think the money was really similar. And I do think it's very fair that when we talk about...
No, it's right. It's 4-year 58. My bad.
Yeah. But I think it's very fair when you talk about Jerry, that Jerry has had loyalty to people in the organization before. Hawk Harrelson, Tony La Russa, Ozzie Guillen, probably a lot of players in the 90s and the early 2000s. I just don't know if that's really been the case, or maybe his business model mindset the last 15-ish years or so.
And then there's obviously the quote from Kenny to tell Frank, stay out of White Sox business after he gets sent to Oakland, or after he signs with Oakland. So yeah, no, I don't know if he deals with loyalty in players. We obviously saw it with front office members. All right, let's get to some White Sox stuff. First of all, Chase Meidroth hit the IL. That's retroactive to Sunday. He was a defensive replacement for no real reason when he was injured, so he'll have to waste more time not being on the IL. So Chase will hit the IL. What we saw in the past two games was Sosa at second base and Curtis Mead at first base, which has been interesting and fun. Brooks Baldwin at third base when he's not being replaced by Josh Rojas, who's airmailing balls to Lenyn Sosa over at first. But I think that's at least interesting because I get to see Curtis Mead play. So, some fun developments there. Meidroth will obviously come back. And then maybe we'll see a roster pinch there. I think when Meidroth does come back, maybe we see Mead sent back down to AAA and then Rojas kept. I know that's not what people want to hear. But I think Meade's up here until Rojas isn't a guy anymore, but I think they like the left-handed bat. So don't get too excited. I think Rojas is here for the end of the year. But there was this note. John Triffin was mentioning that Will Venable said before the game, the key to their post-All-Star break success has been hitting the fastball. It's all about the fastball is what Venable said. So I have some stats. Sox versus the fastball, post-All-Star break as a team. Whiff percent, 15.1. That's third best in Major League Baseball. Batting average, 284. That's seventh best in Major League Baseball. Slugging percentage, 555. That's the best in Major League Baseball. And a barrel for every batted ball event percent. So how many barrels divided by your
balls in play.
Your balls in play. That percentage, 12.2%. That's third in Major League Baseball. Now you're wondering, well, how bad was it? Pre-All-Star break versus the fastball. Whiff percentage, 21.6%. That is a 6.5% drop from pre to post-All-Star break. That was tied for 25th in Major League Baseball. Now they're third. Batting average, 222. It was 284, has been 284 post-All-Star break. That 222 average, the worst in Major League Baseball. The slugging percentage, again, it was, or has been, 555 post-All-Star break. Pre-All-Star break, 352.
Oof.
30th in Major League Baseball. And barrels per batted ball event, 8.9%, which was 16th in Major League Baseball. Not good, but still ugly. So it has been a turnaround. Hopefully they're able to keep that up. They've gone up against some really tough starters with really great fastballs in Gilbert and Wu and just a really dominant guy in Kirby. So don't be too upset about this sweep. I think it'll be really interesting when they come home off this West Coast road trip. Fingers crossed it goes better for them. All right, we do have some notes from this game. I want to get into first the Colson stuff. So Colson drew a walk, so yay.
All right, Colson, way to go. Good job, good effort.
Colson Montgomery on Tuesday hit a Chris Paul hits a triple to cut the lead to 42, right? Like he had a real garbage time homer. But that homer was his 8th in 12 games, and I think he's the only rookie, if I remember this correctly from Opta Stats. Colson Montgomery was the only rookie to have 8 homers in 12 games since Mark McGwire in 1987. But it's not just 8 homers in 12 games. It's 8 homers, no walks in 12 games. So he's the only rookie since McGwire in 87 to, in 12 games, have 8 homers and no walks. So he's bucking the trend. Finally drew a walk. That was great to see. But do you have the graphics here? The thing that really interests me, and again, trying to show that the White Sox have changed, we have talked about Colson and his success hitting the baseball being due to his torpedo bat. What we saw today versus Logan Gilbert is he went back to the normal bat. And you may be feeling like, oh, well, the torpedo bat's getting abused. That's why he's been, hitting poorly. I think what you're seeing is actual scouting from the Chicago White Sox. What does Logan Gilbert do against lefties was my question. Does he pitch inside to lefties? On the left side, you can see his slider plot. And you can see there's a decent amount of red that is away and middle against lefties. There is some a little inside, but then when you look at the fastball plot on the right-hand side, there isn't much inside. A lot of that red is out and away. So I think what the White Sox decided was most of the pitches that he's going to have the opportunity to hit will be away from him. And the barrel, or at least the idea with the torpedo bat, is to not change your swing, but allow the barrel to be more inside. So you are seeing an actual scouting from the White Sox and an actual adjustment for the White Sox. I think it was really interesting to see that you did not see a torpedo bat from Colson in a positive fashion. The Sox understood what the assignment was, and even though they weren't able to win, they at least put some effort into it, which is a lot more than what we could say from last year. All right. Shane Smith pitched today. He was pretty good. He obviously gave up a homer, which wasn't great against Arozarena in the third inning. But 5 innings, 4 hits, 2 earned runs, 1 walk, 8 strikeouts. That's a career high. Only threw 78 pitches. I felt like he could have gone more, but they decided to pull him early, which I don't think is the worst decision with him having injuries and being at a career high in innings already. But the biggest developments were his curveball and more usage of his sinker. He did use 14 changeups today as well. It's always great to see that 92-mile-per-hour changeup be in his arsenal. It has fallen off in usage percentage recently, but seeing it near 20% is good to see. However, on 15 swings on his four-seam fastball, 5 whiffs. That's 33% whiff rate. On 10 swings for his curveball, 6 whiffs. That's a 60% whiff rate. On 7 swings on his changeup, on 7 swings on his changeup, he had 3 whiffs. That's a 43% whiff rate. And then on a sinker, 3 swings, 1 whiff. That's a 33% swing rate. 15 whiffs, 37 swings, a 41% whiff rate. The season high for the White Sox is 18, so nearly tying a career high, but then he also was able to add 13 called strikes. That's a called strike plus whiff percentage of 36%. Major league average is 30%, so this was a really, really great start from Shane Smith. And the one thing that I think it's a really positive sign to see is his slider usage completely fell off. His slider is easily his worst pitch. There was some discussion from Patrick Nolan, a friend of the show who we had on the podcast recently. He was talking about how poor Shane Smith's breaking ball is and his breaking ball value is. And when you look at his stuff plus for his breaking ball, the slider is at 39, a 39 grade. And this is on a 20 to 80 grade scale, 50's average. So on a 20 80 grade scale, his slider's a 39. His curveball is a 42. So I'm really glad to see them cut his worst breaking ball and focus more on that best breaking ball, because the four-seam fastball, 50, average major league fastball. The sinker that we've seen more, 58, above average sinker. That changeup, a stuff of 68. I mean, when you hear a 70-grade pitch, that's insane. He's at a 70-grade changeup. So we're seeing a ton of the four-seam. We're seeing more sinkers. We're seeing more changeups. And we are seeing less of the slider, more of the curve. I think these are all positive developments, and I think it explains a lot of the reason why he was able to set a career high in strikeouts today was because he dumped the bad pitch, and we saw a more of an attachment and confidence with that curveball. And if he could find out the right pitch mix, which could be four-seam, sinker, changeup, curve, I think he could probably add a cutter. It seems like his slider could maybe be adjusted to be a cutter. But I think that this is definitely a project for 2026, 2027, 2028. This is a really interesting piece. Again, obviously a Rule 5 pick that they'll gain minor league options of next year, but I think he's absolutely a part of the rotation next year.
Yeah, and I'll just add on that's a fantastic breakdown, and I think it definitely speaks to how good Shane Smith was today out there on the mound. I will just say eyeball test also is that when you're talking about that pitch mix, I think for him, when he gets in trouble, is I think that four-seamer is a bit of his fallback, where I think he wants to use that and locate it to set up that great changeup. And he can also use that spin on that sinker and also on that curve as well to get swing and miss and get and expand zone a little bit. I thought he did a nice job of locating fastball today. I know that sounds simple and really cliche. I just think it gives him confidence that that's kind of his fallback plan, where I can pick up strikes here and there to even counts, create the right pitch counts and right sequences that I want to have, and then he can use that plus stuff to get guys out. And obviously he had a lot of guys swinging and missing today.
Absolutely, and it's great to see. I'm excited for Shane Smith. You should be as well. Hit that thumbs up button if you haven't already. Make sure you're hitting that subscribe button. We have 2 final things for you. 1, Lenyn Sosa's success has been odd. 2 homers in the day before, nothing today, but 2 homers in the previous 2 games. And I was just curious. He's got a 2% walk rate this year, worst in the Major League Baseball for qualified hitters. And I was just wondering, like, how sustainable is this? He has over 900 plate appearances. So last night, I went to Fangraphs and looked at and sorted by worst walk percentage for minimum 900 career plate appearances. Joey, out of the top 10 worst, where's Lenyn Sosa?
At 2%?
No, that was this year, and maybe it's not exactly 2%.
But you're talking about his career.
He is top 10 worst of all time. Where is he on the top 10?
I'm going to put him at a solid 6 there, Bob.
He's 9, all right? So not that bad. But there was a very horrifying quality that I learned about the worst walk percent. This is since 1995. To put in context how weird Lenyn Sosa's success has been, batting leader since 1995, sorted by lowest walk percent, minimum 900 plate appearances. Number 1 on this list, Livan Hernandez, the pitcher.
Oh, I was gonna say.
2, Sean Dunston.
Yes.
3 Greg Maddux. That's a pitcher.
Can I guess one? Like, is it like Ron Gant?
No.
Okay.
4 Paulo Orlando. 5 Hanser Alberto. 6 Mario Duncan. 7 Davy Cruz. 8 Mike Caruso. 9 Lenin Sosa. 10 Humberto Quintero.
Mike Caruso.
All those players, all those 10, have a walk percent lower than 3.3%. Joey, did you realize what 5 of the 8 hitters have in common?
A lot of them played in a White Sox uniform.
A lot of them played in a White Sox uniform.
Just really quick.
5 of the 8 played in the White Sox organization. Orlando, Alberto, Caruso, Sosa, and Quintero. There are 2 pitchers on the list.
So just really quick. Do you realize that if we were doing shows in 1997, how many segments we would have had to have done on the white flag trade? Now, the white flag trade brought back Keith Fulk and Bob Howery, which turned out to be actual major league pitchers, and Keith Fulk had a great career as a closer. But the headliner of that deal was Mike Caruso. Mike Caruso was billed as the guy who was going to – he was the heir apparent to Ozzie Guillen, and he was supposed to be in a White Sox uniform for 10 to 20 years. He was like he was Gordon Beckham before Gordon Beckham even like did something interesting on the field. He was so highly billed. We would have had to have done segments on like, is he the next whatever? He was a awful baseball player.
And I think Mike Caruso is still in the organization. I think he's still employed by the White Sox.
Well, good for him. He was probably a smart baseball man, but as a player, it did not work out.
Here's the other
Very
thing.
sorry.
The top 30's like objectively horrifying. Because I mentioned 5 of the 8 hitters were White Sox. Here's the top 30. Paulo Orlando, Hanser Alberto, Mike Caruso, Lenin Sosa, Humberto Quintero, Tim Anderson, Sandy Alomar Jr., Dwayne Wise, AJ Pierzynski, Miguel Olivo, Victor Reyes. There is a minor league stint in there for Victor Reyes in the White Sox uniform. Jose Lopez, Wilton Guerrero, all of them former Sox. They employ all of these guys that just cannot draw a single damn walk.
You know who's not on that list? Adam Dunn. Back to you,
No,
Sean.
because it was Homer, walk, or strikeout.
I know
for
he was ground zero, the 3 true outcomes.
Nasty work. And here's also some nasty work. This is from MinSub4. Andrew Vaughn has done the impossible. After being worth negative 1.3 F4 in 48 games this season for the White Sox, Vaughn is now worth 0.1 F4. He's played 22 games for the Brewers and put up 1.4 F4. That's a 10-WAR pace over 162 games. You're saying, don't do this to me.
I'm bringing back the like
Andrew
button
Vaughn
for Andrew Vaughn
puts up a 10-WAR season, I will tie cement bricks to my feet and jump into the Chicago River. Good night. I love you. This has been the CHGO White Sox postgame show presented to you by Bet365. Goodbye.
We all silly like the mayor.